another run on the playoffs. How is this different from last year and the way that you got here last year and the way that you got here this year?
Yeah, I mean, we're in the playoffs now, so I think, it's kind of a different shift in mentality, and I think we remember what happened last year, and we're going to try to avoid that in every way possible.
Does it feel some sort of like a last dance to head into the playoffs knowing Lucy is retiring, Jordi's retiring, and you guys want to win that for them?
Yeah, we definitely want to win for them, but I mean, in general, we just want to win, for the pain of last year. I think everyone, that was here last year kind of remembers it, so it kind of stings with us. So I think, that's another big reason.
Now, I want to ask, does it worry you, Nashville, in the first half of the game the other day? Obviously, you guys won and 4 goals in the second half, but the way they played in the first half, does that concern you going into these games? And what are the advantages or disadvantages of playing the same opponent so many times in a row?
Yeah, I mean, we just got to, clean up any mistakes we made in the first half and, go back to the graft and, fix that. And, that's what we're doing in this playoffs now. So, we can't make mistakes like we did in that first half. And I think, I think that, going into the trainings this week, everyone's, thinking about, that first half that we could have, been a lot better in every aspect of the game. And I think, the advantage of playing the same team, a couple more times is that, the team that you're going against, the players, and you have the experience of going against them. So I think that's an advantage, I guess. But the reality is, you're just going to win every game possible.
No, they had a lot of success in that first half attacking on their right side, your guys' left side. Where we know Jordi likes to run forward from his left back position, so there's spaces to attack. How do you guys counteract that? Right? Because that's part of your DNA, Jordi, going forward to winning crosses to find Leo. How do you counteract that and tighten that so that they don't have as much success in this playoff series? Because that was their biggest recipe in that first half.
Yeah, I think we just got to find a balance of, attacking and defending, and I think, we've done well throughout the whole year. There's just been times where, it's kind of been uneven, and I think that, that's something that, has been addressed by the coaches and stuff, and it's not, nothing major. I think it's, just something that, the team in general has to, be better in defense and be more smart and, when we make tackles and whatnot. So I think, that's something going into the playoffs that we address. But, at the end of the day, it's 4 games or 5 games for us that, we just got to go out and win, tactics, whatnot. It's all about winning. It's not about, little details. It's about winning.
What do you think about Rocco in this stretch of games? He started 3 in a row, I think now. What have you thought of him back there?
Yeah, he's a beast. We've obviously seen him, a couple times throughout the year, but, he's a beast since day one. He's a good guy as well. Everyone enjoys him, and he deserves, what's coming from him.
No, is there a sense of urgency because of what happened last year from the get-go, from training, coming into the first game, going into the playoffs? I know you guys don't like to change a lot from one stage to the other, but is that something that you guys need to get over the hump of what happened last year?
Yeah, it's not a sense of urgency. I don't think, there's not a panic or anything. I think it's more of a motivation, right? Especially the guys that were here last year. I think everyone remembers it, and I think it's been a message around the whole locker room so that everyone can understand is that, it's difficult, right? This best of 3, right? It's not traditional, obviously, and some players may agree, some players may not agree, but we have to do it, right? We have to win 2 games. It's not, oh, we won 1 game and let's relax in the other games. No, we gotta win 2 games. We gotta finish out the 2 games, to move on to the next round. This club has never advanced from 1 playoff game, so this has to be the motivation in the team. Let's build off 1 playoff win. Let's move to the next round, and we go from there. Let's do something let's make more history, something that the club has never achieved.
No, speaking of that, considering the roster that you have this year, considering the lessons you learned from last year, is anything less than lifting the MLS Cup a failure for this team?
Yeah. I mean, we have high expectations for ourselves. I feel like we have the highest standard in the league in ourselves. We want to win every trophy possible. So yeah, I think we want to win the MLS Cup, and that's it.
No, the other day, Baltasar said that you are the best team in the league. You agree with him?
Yeah, I feel so.
Why? I mean, why do you think? What are the strengths besides to have Messi, obviously?
I feel like we have a good relationship between each other, and I feel like we play good football with the ball. We keep a lot of possession, and I feel like we have to have that confidence that we are the best team in the league.
No, how
No,
much
can I
does
ask
it
you
help?
about?
Go ahead, sorry.
Sorry, no. Can I ask you about your Greece experience? Last week. How was that like for you, and how important was that for you to represent your national team?
Yeah, it was awesome. I loved it. We played Germany and Latvia. We won both games, and it was a great time. Creating new relationships over there, representing my mom's country. So it's awesome.
No, this is a bit of a redundant question from what we've asked all year, but how helpful, especially in these type of playoff series where it comes down to maybe little moments, that you have someone like Lionel Messi and his quality. So in the first half against Nashville, they were on top of you guys, they had you against the ropes, and he opened the scoring, bringing the ball down his chest between two defenders and scoring from distance, pinpoint shot. How much does that X factor help you guys in your push for MLS Cup?
Yeah, I tell everyone, he's the best outlet in the world to have as a teammate. Someone that can create something out of nothing. He's a special player, one of a kind. I'm so grateful to have him on the team.
Talking to Jordi, I asked him about you and the influence he's been on you, and he said that he looked at you and he thought of himself when he was young because he also had a position change like you did. Can you talk a little bit about what advice has he given you and what does have that meant to you in your career?
Yeah, he's given me so much advice, honestly. Like on the field and off the field with positioning and just life in general. There's so much. Literally, I'm not even trying to like lie to you or say anything, but I literally have stories like every other day from him. We're talking to him. He's been one of the most important teammates in my life, and I'm so grateful to have played with him and to have been his teammate and learn a lot from him. And we'll continue to over this playoff stretch.
Thank you, Ryan.
Thank you.